Happy New Year to everybody.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Yeah, it hopefully wasn't too eventful for everybody. Yeah, a quiet one. I think yours was quiet.
Mine was quiet. Mine was really nice and chilled. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I was just saying that New Year's Eve, I was asleep in bed by 10:15. So wild New Year's Eve over here.
No, I think we were. Rosie would hope to have been in bed by 10:15. Um, but I think we'll be in bed before 10 o'clock tonight.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
she's saying yes. Okay, so this call is just basically Alice and I just want to kind of set the scene for the next. We've got 2 weeks left, I think, after this on
Yeah.
the current shape up. So just setting the kind of the scene for the next couple of weeks. As I said to everybody when they started on this block, it was not so much about trying to push to get massive results. It was try and keep some sort of consistency over Christmas, and then getting back into the routine for the new year. Um, and we'll look at setting goals and things over the new year, just talking about that. Maybe kind of discussing goals that we've set for ourselves. A few sort of things just to help you get back into that routine. A couple of bits to try and just avoid some of the pitfalls that loads of people fall into every year when they set goals and
Yeah.
New Year's resolutions and things. And this is my tenth New Year doing this, and I say it every year. So just a few sort of things that I noticed that people can hopefully then avoid. And then just a few things to watch out for because social media is rife at the moment with loads and loads of people trying to sell supplements. It is for the fitness and the wellness industry. This is the busiest time of year, and you get lots and lots of coaches trying to sell programs, trying to sell all sorts of different products and things. And it's not, I think you kind of have to realize that December, for a lot of the fitness industry, November, December are the quietest times of year. And you get a lot of coaches who are just thinking, right, we've got to milk January and February for all it's worth. So they're not got your best interest in heart at heart. They've got their pockets in mind. So just a few things, and then yeah, close the call up with just a few practical things for the focuses over the next week, and then we'll go from there. So I think the first things first is obviously over Christmas it's a bit of a weird time. I don't know about you, but my routine. I was saying just before we jumped on the call, I've actually made myself go to the gym every single day to do some form of exercise since Boxing Day. So I was in there on Boxing Day and I managed every single day, even today, done 30, 40 minutes of a fairly lightweight. I had a couple of drinks last night, so I was still feeling a little bit sorry for myself. So fairly lightweight kind of workout, but trying to get back into that sort of routine. Um, Food wise, hasn't been what my usual. I wouldn't say it's been terrible, but it's not been what I normally would do. I've still got half a Christmas cake to get through. And we've still got a load of cheese in the fridge that needs eating. Um, but it's. I think you've got to realize that Christmas routines are going to change, and the week between Christmas and New Year is just one week in the grand scheme of things. You've got 51 other weeks of the year. And if you can focus on what we're doing from now until next Christmas, it's that. And I think I've seen a couple of kind of bits of comments on the reflections, and then also speaking to clients as well. I think they've realised that actually they've enjoyed Christmas guilt free, but also haven't gone crazy because they've realised they don't have to. That's the key thing. So, it's perfectly normal to have that sort of thing over Christmas. If you've managed to keep some sort of routine and consistency going on your normal days, fantastic. If you haven't, it doesn't matter. It's one week. Both kind of situations are perfectly normal and they're fine. And we're in January. It's a great, new year. I don't like this new year, new me kind of phrase. I don't like it. but it is a new year, and January is a great time to reset. And having to reset periodically is perfectly normal. You know, even for those of us who do this kind of thing for for a living, you're not going to be 100% on it all the time. That's not normal. You know, having that kind of flexibility and relaxing at times, and then having to refocus every now and then, that's absolutely perfectly normal. And I think even the fittest and the healthiest people have to do that most, periodically throughout the year. So that's what January is. It's a really good time to refocus, to revisit goals, revisit aims, and then maybe make some tweaks to kind of your routines accordingly. So, what goals have you set this year? Have you set any?
I actually haven't yet. Yeah, I'm struggling with mine, I'll be honest. So my main one, sort of coming into the end of last year, was I wanted to do an Olympic distance triathlon, but which would be sort of double the distance what I've done already, because I've only done the sprints. But Christmas Day, I tried my first 5K in quite a while since my ankle's been playing up and I've been back at physio,
Yeah.
and I really struggled with it. Like I was in a lot of pain. So Christmas Day was fun. We battled through it, was okay. But I think it just made me realise and take that step back. Like I think right now even a sprint would be a challenge. So I'm really nervous to set my goals around that because I don't know where I'm going to be. And what I don't want to do is either push myself too hard and end up even worse than where I am now, or do it and then not achieve it because I am very good at beating myself up if I don't achieve what I set myself out to do. Don't know if you've noticed that, Will, but
No comment.
so that's sort of where I'm at with mine, where I'm really struggling to be like, what are going to be like my goals, I guess. So yeah, I'm not sure right now. It's a really difficult one. There are a few things that I thought I wanted to do this year around my running, but I don't think this is going to be the year for me to run. I think this is going to be a year of rebuilding and seeing where we're at. I
Yeah.
think that's going to be my sensible approach. Um, but yeah, I think there's stuff that I'm planning in like personal life in terms of like job, moving house, all of those things, more like that kind of goal setting. But in
Yeah.
terms of like my fitness, I've not set any yet. So I need to have a little think on what they're going to be.
But that's also something else that I kind of wanted to touch on, in that not all goals have to be kind of health and fitness
Yeah.
related. Um, I don't think most, I mean, in terms of my health and fitness, goal wise, I do want to lose a little bit of weight to go into the summer. I've maintained over the year. I'm at a weight that I'm at the top end of kind of the comfortable range. So I'm kind of thinking just a 2, 3, 4 months, maybe going up into sort of March, April, do a bit of weight loss. So, and I've not set a goal weight. I'm just going to kind of do it for a period of time. Because I think that's the other thing as well, sort of getting into the trap of setting a goal weight that you want to work towards. And I've said this to pretty much every client I've ever worked with. That's not always the way to go, because how do you know you're going to be satisfied when you get to that weight? And so for me, I'd like to do weight loss. So it is then focusing on tightening up on the habits that are going to get me there. That's the key thing. So I'm going to focus on training. I'm going to up my cardio. So I'm actually going to start doing some cardio. I'm fine. I'm going to try paddle. We've just had
Ooh,
a paddle court open in town, so
nice.
that's something that we want to try and do. We were just sort of talking about it last night, maybe booking a court and having a go, just to try and get some cardio in there. Keep building the strength, because I still enjoy, and I actually have enjoyed. I set myself like a three basic programs to go through: 3 days day of rest, 3 days day of rest, and that's kind of what I worked through. And I've really enjoyed that, to try and push the weights up, not overcomplicated, just really, really simple workouts, 5, 6 exercises, and focus on a couple of big lifts, just really simple stuff like that. So I'm going to keep pushing with that. So health and fitness wise, up the cardio, bit of weight loss, build strength. And then, like you, I've got stuff in terms of personal goals and business goals in particular. So that's something that I'm working on over the next couple of days, in terms of what the business is going to look like, just so that I can not have to spend hours and hours and hours um, coaching and getting up at 5 o'clock every morning. So
Be nice.
one of the things is have those goals and
Yeah.
be be bold with them. It doesn't matter if you don't, and this is kind of going back to your comment, like beating yourself up if you don't get there.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the traps that people fall into. They set these goals, and if they don't achieve them, they feel like they failed. And actually, what they miss is all the progress
Yeah.
that they've made anyway, regardless of whether they, it's like the phrase aim for the stars, and hit the moon. You've still made progress. So I think that's something that we need to kind of sort of remind ourselves of periodically. So have your big goal, break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces, and then think about the behaviors that you need to do to get there and work on those. Because if you're working on those behaviors, and again, this idea of your identity behaviors come from that, and then the outcomes come from that, you're still going to make progress. And you might not necessarily achieve the end goal in the next 12 months, but the chances are if you keep chipping away at it, you will get there eventually, and most probably even exceed it. And I say this a lot, a lot of people surprise themselves. Sometimes goals are self-limiting, and I think actually if you don't just focus on an end goal, but focus on the processes and things around it, it makes things easier to kind of maintain and sustain. But it also doesn't limit you. You can perhaps even exceed your expectations. So think about, I think fitness is a good one, and
Yeah.
have personal goals. So it could be career based, it could be something that you want to develop yourself, a little bit better in, maybe read a bit more. That's something that I want to try and do. So I'm going to set myself a daily goal of trying to read for 5 to 10 minutes each day. And I've got my book upstairs. So when we go to bed early tonight, I am going to try not to doom scroll
Yeah.
and read a book. So I'm going to try and do that. And yeah, have personal, professional, and health goals. Write them down and then break them down. And if you need help with that, that's something that we are here to
Yeah.
help you with as well. And then focus on the behaviors that you need to do and set those sorts of things. One of the things I am working on, and I've done a little bit of work on it, I'm trying to design a spreadsheet where you can put your daily kind of habit checker things, tick it off. I've seen it somewhere where, you tick it off and it'll do like a pie chart and it'll show you progress, and that works for me. So if I've set it up and it looks good, people want to have a look at it, let me know. And I'll share that as well. But yeah, focus on the behaviors because the outcomes come from the behaviors and from your systems. And that's ultimately what we want to do. So with that in mind, you've got your goals. I think January, over the next 2 weeks, and this is something that a trap that a lot of people fall into, is they kind of go all in, 0 to 100 straight away.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it all the time, like cut out carbs, for example, or slash calories, or I'm going to go to the gym every single day of the week, or I'm going to run every day of the week, or whatever. Um, no,
You'll just burn out. Like it's not sustainable in the long term. You've got to think it's something you've got to be able to do consistently. Like we always say, it's consistency. And actually, like you say, setting yourselves these ridiculous goals where you've got like no flexibility in them, no breaks, anything like that, you're setting yourself up to fail.
yeah, and it's having those. I think the key thing is we've all talked about baseline habits, those anchor habits that you kind of focus on. So your key ones, obviously, trying to get protein in with most meals, trying to get your fruit and veg in where you can. So aiming for a portion of fruit and veg with 2 meals every day is a great starting point. Um, Trying to get to bed at a reasonable time, activity. So rather than just kind of saying, right, I'm going to work out every single day, it could be, what is my activity going to be? That could be a workout, it could be a dance class, it could be going to play paddle, could be going for a walk, whatever it is, try and do some form of activity. And rather than saying I'm going to do an hour every day, start off like I'm going to do 5-10 minutes. That is the minimum aim. I'll aim to do 5 or 10 minutes every day. If I do more, great. If I only do 5 or 10 minutes, I've still achieved that goal. And if you're focusing on those key ones, so protein, fruit and veg with your fiber, sleep, activity, and then hydration, keeping those big five. I think those working on those over the next week or two is going to be great. Pick one or two of them to do, or two or three over the next week, and then add more in. You know, but yeah, focus on. I think the other thing as well is that a lot of people focus on restriction at this time of year. It's what do I have to cut out? But instead, and that's a really negative attitude, and it's quite a difficult one to kind of sustain. Whereas if you go from a point of view, is what do I need to add in? It makes things a lot easier. So, think about what do I, especially after Christmas, like fruit and veg intake has not been particularly up there, unless you count fruit cake that's in Christmas cake. Um, but it's trying to increase your fruit and veg intake. I've kept the activity levels going, which is great, and I'm quite pleased with myself with that one. But what can you add in? What can you actually start to increase and build up on over the next 1 to 2 weeks? Um, you know, because those common pitfalls that we get in January, we look at it as though it's a punishment,
Yeah.
something you've got to make up for over Christmas. Why do you need to make up for Christmas? You just don't.
Yeah.
It's return to what you were doing before, and those results that you were seeing before will come back very quickly. All right. Um, yeah. So I think focus on the key things over the next 2 weeks. Pick two or three to work on this coming week, and then maybe add a couple more in the week after, so that we can go into the next rotation, the next block, fully, hitting the ground running. I've lost my train of thought. You can tell it's been Christmas. But yeah, I think the key thing is, it's what you can add in rather than what you need to cut out, and don't look at Christmas as something that you've got to punish yourself for.
Mm.
A lot of people do that. They kind of go, right, been bad over Christmas, got to be good now. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. So we mentioned wary of online advice.
Yeah,
What sort of
definitely.
stuff have you seen over the
Oh,
last?
it's always the like the 30 or 60 day challenges of you're going to commit to something for all of those days and just keep going, and like say like cutting out carbs or cutting out fat, or people that are saying, oh, I'm going back to Slimming World and I did so well last time and now I'm back to where I was, if not heavier, so I'm going to go back. And it's like, okay, do we need to like have a bit of a change? And or people that are just completely, like you say, overhauling everything, or there's also really positive stuff where people are like set themselves new challenges and things they want to achieve by the end of the year, but there is so much of that, like so that all or nothing mindset.
Yeah.
um and I've been quite lucky from it this year, but in previous years you see, you get like all the influencers online that aren't qualified to give the advice, and they'll start talking like the expert on certain subjects that is dangerous. It's really harmful advice that you can get in some of them in terms of, what you should be doing for your health in terms of nutrition.
Mm,
Um, and it's just scaremongering at the end of the day. And actually, when it's really conflicting and you're hearing one thing from one side and something completely different, but they've got loads of followers and a blue tick, so I should listen to them, but actually ignoring the stuff from the people that they're talking about. Like it can be really confusing and really dangerous for people out there. So it's just a little bit of a minefield. So I'd say just be careful where you're getting your information from. Um, and if you're ever not sure, ask us.
yeah, and I think the
Say
key
stuff.
thing, if you want to know whether, for me, if you want to know whether somebody's giving good advice, if it's black and white, if it's like you really kind of you must do this, or you need to avoid that or whatever. You know, where
The
they say like
secrets,
don't eat junk food.
yeah, or the secrets the nutritionists don't want you to know, and it's like,
Oh, that one,
mm,
yeah. You know, this is something your doctors don't want you to know.
yeah,
Doctors want you to.
be
Um,
reliant on them, and yeah,
I mean, you know, and they talk about pharmaceutical industry. I've said it. I've said it before, but the wellness industry, the health and wellness industry, is worth 4 times the value of the pharmaceutical industry. So when they demonize doctors in the pharmaceutical industry, just realize that actually the wellness industry is worth far more. Yeah. Um, so yeah, and if they start talking in absolutes, because
yeah,
health and fitness isn't absolutism, it's nuanced, it's got loads of gray areas. You know, I'm not somebody who's going to say, yeah, absolutely go and eat junk food, but you don't need to cut it out, you need to moderate it. You know, you don't have to avoid processed foods,
yeah,
but obviously working to reduce them as best you can, and prioritizing whole foods is the way to go. You also have to watch out for them contradicting themselves. There was one upon there's somebody called Primal Bod who pops
oh,
up
not
quite
seen
often
them.
on my on my, so they're kind of the ancestral diet kind of thing. So it's mostly like animal based.
Like carnivore type.
Yeah, so she's all about talking about she was one of those anti-seed oil ones. But then I've seen a video today where she says, "Oh, it's not seed oils you have to avoid. It's animal fats from grain-fed animals. So you should only get food from animals that are grass-fed, like grass-fed cattle or wild-caught fish. You know, if it's farmed fish, it's bad for you. Um, Also, don't eat fruit and veg uh, because it's been sprayed with pesticides." And I'm like, you know, what you're advising here is going to stop people from doing or discourage people from doing something and not doing enough of anyway.
Yeah,
You know, when they talk about the other one as well, where they say, "Oh, the nutrition guidelines are killing you." I'm not sure how something can kill you if 90% of the population don't stick to it anyway. You
yeah,
know, so when you're looking at kind of health and wellness influences, if they're telling that you must do something, red flag. If they're telling you to avoid like food groups, red flag. If they're selling you, if they're basically creating a problem and then they're selling you the solution that might be a supplement or something, that's a red flag. If you've got somebody who's saying, you know, more nuanced information and saying, yeah, you can do this, just be aware of it and maybe have a bit of moderation, that's absolute, you know, they're probably better if they're evidence based. Also, if they're, you know, if they're a personal trainer or a nutritionist, they are there to advise you on fitness and activity and nutrition and your diet. They should not be giving you any medical advice or information. You know, I'm never going to tell anybody they should stop taking a. I've got clients who are on statins and they're saying, "Do you think I'll ever come off them?" I'm like, "Well, I can't tell you that. That's
yeah,
something your doctor needs to speak to you about." You know, but doing this in terms of your diet and your nutrition and your fitness is only going to help your situation.
yeah. I mean, I could use with Tom, my partner. He's just gone on to these biological drugs that he now has to take for his arthritis, and like without them, he can't move.
Yeah.
Like there's no amount of anything you could advise all the nutrition and fitness stuff in the world, but it wouldn't change that fact. Like he's a very fit individual. He used to bodybuild. Nah, that's like he goes to the
Fitness.
gym. He trains consistently. Like
Yeah.
he's very active, even
Yeah.
in his job. That's not going to change. But actually, movement does help in some instances, but it's never going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
There is certain things where actually medication is required. Um, and yeah, like the health and wellness industry will love to tell you that you can cure everything naturally, but it's just simply not the case.
Oh, what did I see the other day? A water wand that if you stir your water with, it makes it more hydrating. It's a glass rod. That's basically it.
I feel like I need one.
It's just, yeah. I
Interesting.
couldn't believe it when I watched it. There's loads of stuff like that. And that's just that is not going to go away because these people can make all of these claims. Um,
Yeah.
I discovered something called Brandolini's law, which basically states that it takes an order of magnitude more effort to dispel a myth than it does to create it.
Yeah.
Because somebody can say whatever they want without any evidence, and it can go straight out there. But for you to actually disprove it, you have to go and find the
All
research.
bits of evidence.
You've got to go and find what the research says, and make sure that the research is good quality. You've got to be able to explain it, interpret it, and then communicate that in a way. And it takes hours to do that. And even when you do that, the people who come up with a myth can just go, yeah, well, that's been funded by big seed oil or funded by big veg or
Yeah.
whatever. So it takes massive amounts of effort to try and dispel all these myths. And actually, what we really need to do is just try and encourage people to be a little bit critical, think
Mm.
critically whenever they're given something on social media or in the media itself, and somebody's making these claims, they have to question it. Does it seem reasonable? And unfortunately, most people don't have the knowledge to question. And that's not a criticism. Some of these people are, they'll make statements about insulin, for example, being the reason why you're fat. People don't know how insulin works.
Yeah.
Most people don't know what it's there for. They have an idea that it's there to help control blood sugars and blood glucose levels,
But that's it.
but that's it. So when people sort of say, yeah, but also it's the fuel selector, it decides whether you're going to use glucose or fats for fuel, and if it's making you use glucose, then you store fats. Well, yeah, but that's not the whole story. You need to know, and people don't have that knowledge, and they don't necessarily need it. But you do need to have that ability to kind of just think, well, hang on a minute, this sounds too good to be true, because if it does, it usually is, and then they need to question it. So just be wary, and yeah, it does take a lot of effort. So people like you and me who try and dispel these myths, um,
It takes so long, doesn't it? Like you
just
say, you've got
takes
to
a
go find those papers, be able to link it, be able to break it down so that people
yeah,
can understand it. And but like you
explain
say, it
it.
can, yeah,
It's an uphill struggle, and it's one that we're going to have to keep doing,
yeah,
unfortunately. But it's just if we can make people more aware that they need to be a little bit more kind of questioning when they're looking at what's on social media. And if they're not sure, go and speak to ask us, and we can help sort of disseminate these sorts of things, or go and find somebody that's got a little bit of knowledge in the area, and they can kind of put things at rest. And the other thing is, just because somebody has the word doctor in front of their name, there's an awful lot of chiropractors from the States who are online who can put doctor. They are doctors of chiropractic. That does not make them nutritional experts. It doesn't make them medical experts. They are
yeah.
doctors of chiropractic, which is, um, they're working with the skeleton effectively. That's what their knowledge base is on. They can't tell you a jot about nutrition or about exercise or anything like that. So yeah, just be wary of that one as well. Um, yeah. So finish off the last little bit on this is just over the next couple of weeks, have a plan. So just set yourself a couple of different habits to focus on over the coming week. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be that you focus on your breakfast for the next week. It could be that you focus on trying to get back into a good sleep routine. So
Yeah.
going to bed and waking up at the same time. That's something I'm going to try and do over the next few days as well. It could be that you have a look at some new recipes for your evening meals, or you try and add some veg into your evening meals. Just pick one or two habits, maybe two or three for the next week. Spend the next couple of days planning those. Take a bit of time to plan them so that you are going to hit the ground running on Monday. And then look at how you can kind of reduce the friction to that. So, like I say, we've still got Christmas cake and things like that. If you don't have to eat it all between now and Monday,
Yeah.
you can learn to ration it. that's something I've done quite. I've still got Reese's peanut butter pieces. I'm amazed I've still got some left. So you can look at like yeah, this is a slight aside. I was reading a paper that was brought to my attention by somebody that I follow online, and they did some research between um, binging on everything to get it out the way before
Mm.
Christmas, and then portioning it out into smaller portions and spreading it out over time. What they found is that those people who portion that out, so they take their chocolate bar and they pre-portion it into things, they had better adherence to their goals than those who needed to get it out of the way and eat it, because those who ate it all would more often than not go and buy some more to consume it because
It,
of the guilt.
it's again a bit like that all or nothing mindset, though, isn't it? Like you've
Yeah.
eaten it all and you've gone, "Oh, I've ruined it anyway. So what's the point?" Or I can't do it. It's too hard. Like you say, compared to someone that can just portion it out and go for it, and then you step from that. Like I'm really weird, and if it's like really special chocolate, I'll put it away and I'll purposely not eat it. And then people are like, Alice, that's now like that's probably now gone off. I'm like, yeah, but I'm saving it for a special occasion.
Yeah, what they basically found is that people who can portion it out and allocate like small portions of it
Yeah.
either daily or
Or
regularly,
even having it daily, weekly, whenever that
yeah,
is. Yeah.
that removes some of the kind of mystique around that food. It removes
100%.
some of that kind of magic appeal that it's got, and it becomes normal. We don't crave like daily foods that we eat all the time
No.
because we eat them all the time. It's not something that we particularly that we particularly crave or want or need, because we know that we can have it whenever. If you can do the same with some of the foods that you have issues around now and work on, and this takes time.
Yeah.
It's a good time of year to do it. So all the Christmas chocolate, rather than thinking I need to eat it, get it out of the way, portion it out and
Yeah.
say I'm going to have a small amount of this every single day. It removes some of that kind of um, what's the word I'm looking for? That grip it has on you. Yeah,
Yeah. And like you say, and like you might have a day where you've set yourself a portion. You might go, you know what, I've had a little bit. I don't want to finish that
don't want
now.
to.
You
Yeah,
can put it away for later, and that's such a good place to be able to get to.
yeah,
And like I say, it does take practice. Like it's taken me ages to get to a point where I can do that, but now I can have like anything in the house and it doesn't bother me like
yeah,
at all.
yeah. And
Because like
that's
you say, it doesn't have that magical power that you're like, oh, this
yeah,
is
and
so
it's
good, but I have to eat it all because I shouldn't be having it.
in the psychology is that as soon as you say no to something that you can't have it, that inner child comes out. I want it more. So
Like
it's
cutting out carbs. It's
yeah,
it's like that. It's so much harder
yeah. And
because
it
you're
is,
telling
and
yourself
it's
you can't
harder
have
for
it.
women as well because of the monthly cycle. That does have an impact on it.
Yeah.
So, as soon as you say no, I restrict it, you then crave it, you binge, you guilt, and it goes back in the cycle. So don't restrict, portion stuff out. If you've got stuff left over, portion it out. Say you can have like this Christmas cake. I'm gonna have a piece tonight. I'll probably have another piece at the weekend. And then it might, you know what, I might even not finish the rest of it off. I might have a quarter of it left and that just gets chucked in the bin because I won't fancy it. But portion it out and it removes some of that kind of hold that food has. All right. So yeah, the next few days, plan your next week, plan your habits, pick the ones you're going to do, plan them in, look at your schedule for the week ahead. If you've got foods left in the house, portion them out. If you really think it's going to be an issue, give them away, get rid of them, whatever.
Yeah.
But portion them out and try practicing that kind of portion control. That just reaffirms some of the stuff. I know Gina had some really good sort of success with that over Christmas, and it'll just reaffirm some of that kind of success there. And just you've had Christmas. I hope you've enjoyed it. Enjoy it guilt free. If you've overindulged, doesn't matter, fantastic, you've done Christmas properly. You've not undone any of the hard work that you've put in over the last sort of 6-12 months. um January is a great time to reassess goals, reset your habits, your routines, and get them kicked off again. Start of a fresh year, fresh new year, get them started, focus on those habits, and the outcomes are going to come from that. So pick your habits, focus on them, and go for it this week. And I will be,
Write them down.
yeah, write them down. And it's the same with the goals. Have the goals
Yeah,
written
write
down,
them down.
put them somewhere visible. Put them somewhere, stick them on a sticky note on your fridge door or something, or on your mirror. Have your goals in front of you so you're reminded of them all
Yeah,
the time. And then I will do check-ins on Monday as normal.
there you go.
But yeah, Brill. Right. New year, new us. Fantastic. All right, then, guys. We will catch you for the live call next Thursday at the normal time, and I will do check-ins on Monday. But from us for now, it is goodbye.
Bye.